large cup of coffee today, boy. Tell you. Because tea would not be strong enough. I'm going to tell you that right now. The tea would not be strong enough. While I'm waiting for some people to get up in here, I'm going to just tell y'all a little story about what happened to me this morning. Hey, what's up, Ryan? Right? So I'm sitting there, you know, using the bathroom, the early morning pee, and then for some reason, the nugget just come in behind me because he always like to come in behind me when I'm using the bathroom. And I'm sitting there peeing, I'm almost done, and he's so quick, he snuck up right to the other side and flushed the toilet on me. And the toilets here are like super powerful. So all the toilet water just splashed up on me. And then he runs away laughing because he thinks it's funny. I'm telling you, this little baby that I got, he's just out of control. He's out of control. And then he came up into the kitchen, went into the kitchen, got an egg, and threw the egg on the ground. And like I've been dreading this. I've been dreading this. Like I keep a picture in my phone. It was like one of those memes where it's like, oh, when they're quiet, something's going down. Something's going down. And it got the little baby laying in front of the fridge where everything, like the milk, the eggs, all the contents of the fridge just out on the ground. And then every time I scroll through past this picture in my phone, like I double take because it looks like my son on the picture. I double take and I'm like, oh yeah, keep him away from that fridge. Keep him away from that fridge. So today he got in quick. I was sitting there making his little breakfast and he went in there quick, quick, quick. Got an egg and just threw it on the floor. Yesterday he got two. I stopped him. I put the eggs back. But today he got it quick and threw it on the floor. I was like, man, now I'm gonna have to make an egg, make an egg for me this morning. So yes, so Barrett usually get in here and Barrett be sharing it out. But he said he's headed home and he'll catch it later. Come in here later. I'm usually on a little bit later in the day, but I have a parent-teacher conference. Fun stuff. I got a parent-teacher conference today, and for my stepson, he's gonna be home in like an hour or so because they got a half a day. For some, like I don't know. I remember when we was younger, or at least when I was younger, and we had parent-teacher conferences. It was usually after school was out. Like, am I wrong? Like school would be out. It would be later on in the evening, like 5, 6 o'clock in the evening, and then we would go back to school for the parent teacher conferences. Now these teachers out here taking whole days off, sending the kids, sending them home early. Like today, he's gonna be at school for only 2 hours, and then they sending him home. And I'm like, yo, they really just want to get rid of these children. They don't want them. Like this is supposed to be my respite time. Like I have him all summer. Y'all got to keep him. So yeah, we got the parent teacher conference, and I remember during parent teacher conferences, oh man, you would just be nook. You would be nook for no reason. When parent teacher conferences, like you just be like literally thinking like, damn, did I do anything bad this quarter? Did I do anything bad this semester? What my grades looking like? What my behavior looking like? And then the teacher would bring up something you completely forgot about, and your mama would just be looking at you like, oh, this is what you doing? This is what you doing in school? But see, back then, right, girl, I definitely was like that, right? What up, Barrett? So your mom would be looking at you, and it would be back. See, this during the '90s. My mama would pop me right in front of the teacher, and the teacher would just be like, "What? You knew that was about to happen. I told you not to be messing up in my class." Da 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 da. Da. You know what I mean? But now you can't do none of that. You can't do none of that in the school. You can't even look at your kid the wrong way at school. You can't even look at your child the wrong way at school. Because the teachers would be quick to take down notes. Oh, she said this. Oh, well, she looked at the child this way, and oh, but the. mad PC. Like you got to keep everything in composure, and you got to be walking to the car. Like, oh, when you get home, you about to get it. You about to get your ass whooped. That's right, Nugget. Don't you go messing up in school. So, all right, that was a little tidbit about it. But so in the title, why I like watching martial arts movies, right? What happened? I don't see nothing. Wait, on the feed? Oh no! Don't tell me we already got technical difficulties, right? You bringing the bad juju. Can you see me? Can you hear me? What's good? You good? Well, it only says that one person is watching. I obviously know that there's more than y'all, more than one person watching right now. So maybe it's YouTube being silly. And Raya, you don't know. I got the crazy connection out here in Japan. So yeah. So let me know if y'all can hear me. It's clear. It's clear. All right. Well, Raya, I think it might be your connection. Let me stop. Let me stop. Let me get back. All right, I'm gonna cut that. I'm gonna cut that. So why I like martial arts movies. Okay, so I was watching I was watching Rise of a Legend last night, and mind you, like I'm super into. What's up, David? What's up, Islam? I'm super into martial arts movies, and that's because of my daddy. My daddy is like, he was the movie king. And he had all from mob movies, martial arts movies, dramas, and he would have us watching movies that we had no business watching as little babies. We had no business watching it. He would do the whole cover your eyes thing, but we'd be like, I mean, the fake, fake up covering my eyes, but got the little squint holes. But anyways, yeah. So why I love watching these movies is it's crazy to me how Bruce Leroy, not what I don't know what why this thing keep coming up. Um, that notification just threw me off. Like I don't know why. You know what? I'm not even gonna go into that neither. So it is crazy to me how, and especially when you look at Chinese and Japanese martial arts movies, they will tell their whole history in those movies, and they'll do it in a way like they have like dumb honor and dignity. I'm a huge martial arts buff, so you'll kind of get where I'm saying. Like, and anybody who watches martial arts movies, especially the classical ones. So I like watch your step, Mugs. He's wearing a hoodie today, and he looks like 100 times more devious when he got his hood up. So, the martial arts movies that I really enjoy are the ones that kind of tell about the dynasties and the Warren period. Come on, the Warren periods and stuff. Go on, go on. Like the ones that kind of tell about their history and stuff, and it's really fascinating to me. I love all the epics, and they tell about all the dynasties. Yes. See, I'm gonna have to take that away from you, Nugget, if you can't be responsible. Yeah, so they will legit, be mad honest about their period. So where we have like, and I was watching it yesterday, and I'm like, damn, we sit here as Asiatics or whatever, and or Africans or whatever you're trying to call yourself. We sit here and we talk about, we weren't that bad, we weren't warring that bad, and we let other people tell us like, oh, they can't stop killing each other in Africa, or y'all can't stop killing each other in here in America, and da da da. And it's just like when you watch martial arts movies like this, it comes so clear to you that every race did the same thing. So you had the Europeans murdering each other like brutally all through the medieval period, right? Through the Dark Ages. The Chinese had their like years and hundreds of years of warring, and then finally, I think it's under the king, the queen, the QING. I don't quite know. The king. I think that's pronounced that. The Qing Dynasty was the first one that united China under one dynasty. Before that, it was like multiple like tribes, right, or multiple like kingdoms that they had. He brought China. Who brought China? So there's I was watching, what's that on? Yes, yes, they brought China together. But the thing is, it's not like they were, oh, we're gonna unify China under one. It was, I think, about five separate states, because I was watching Little Big Soldier, and Jackie Chan was the one that did that movie, and I think he wrote it, and then he also like did some producing or directing or something like that, and then he also starred in it. But that basically told the story of how China became unified under one China because of those warring states. So they had the Han, I think. The Wei was what Jackie Chan he was under, and then the keys, the key or the Yan, one of them was the other person, the other antagonist, and then at the end they kind of give the story of like, okay, and then at yes, the Little Big Soldier is the name of the movie. Red Cliff 1 and 2 was about the Qing Dynasty. Yeah, so but this was before the Qing Dynasty, and then at the end it shows Jackie Chan, his character finally gets back to his homeland or whatever, to the Wei state, and he sees that the king had already like came and obliterated his whole town, and he died at the end. And then at the end it says by 221 BC, China was finally united under the Qing Dynasty, and that started the first dynasty under a unified China. And I'm like, see, they can sit here and tell their whole history of how their people warred and stuff like that, and then keep giving more history. So the one I watched yesterday, the Rise of the Legend, was about Wong Fei Hung. And if you are like big into martial arts, you know who that is. I forget what other I think it's Chow Yun Fat that played Wong Fei Hung in separate other. I forget what the other movies were called, but this is kind of like a prequel, similar to like IP Man or Ip Man, where they had like the first one, the second one come out, and then they did the prequel about him before. But this was about Wong Fei Hung, who's just like super famous. Again, and it's like based upon real people. So I'm sitting here like, how come we don't have this like about the Moors? Like, how come we can't, do a movie about Tarif and how he goes over to Spain and conquers Spain? Like, why can't we have that ourselves? And it goes back to the same point of how, if we know anything, crazy thing is they were all. Can you simmer down, Barry? Because I'm getting there. Can you simmer down? Because I'm getting there. She, oh, smart ass, always jumping ahead and stuff. So, so I'm sitting here like, how come we can't, you good, I'm kidding. How come we can't have those like types of movies for the Moors? And it'll be like, because they won't ever let us, recognize about ourselves, like know ourselves, like the last live that I was talking about, how, why Nugget, why? Oh my God, time out. Got it on Hulu, Little Big Soldier. Yeah, that's what I was watching it on. Listen here, we're not about to do this right now. Don't get pop out in front of people on live. Stop it. Don't play with your blocks or something. If I give you pop-out, somebody online might report me. We might have snitches out here. Somebody should do that movie, especially with the 100K. Listen here, y'all. Hey, listen. I knew this was gonna be trouble. I knew this was gonna be trouble. So you gonna get it, Nugget. Nobody report me for this, okay? Come here. Because if you break that, there's gonna be problems. There's gonna be problems. Come here. Yeah. I warned you like 5 times. What the fuck? Come on. Take your blocks, play with your blocks. You got 2 tablets out here. You're getting too big for your britches, Nugget. Alright, y'all don't report me. Because I know people like to be snitching. But yeah, so it's crazy how we don't have movies like that. And the fact the fact that, let's see, they got Ip Man was in Chain. We get Chain Mans in movies, yep. So that's about all the movies of history we get. It's like right when we're in chains. No one really talks about how we had warring states as well, right? We had warring states, and then not only did we have warring states, but we sat there, and it's well known through scholarly reviews and stuff like that, and people who teach this in school, that the Moors went over to Europe and gave them the Renaissance and gave them a whole bunch of other stuff. But why don't we ever get movies about that showing us in a different light? And this is like how I said in the past live, that our slavery was different because we weren't allowed to keep our nationalities and we weren't allowed to keep our history. So in Rise of the Legend, it was talking about the time during the Qing dynasty, the fall of the Qing dynasty, when the foreigners, the Europeans, started coming in. And it's always funny how it's a coincidence where every time you see some messed up stuff happening, it's always like the European, it's always the UK behind them, like, oh, you know, stirring up the pot. So in this one, it was during, I believe this one was during the first Opium War. During the first Opium War, where they started trying to trade opium, trying to get China to trade opium, trying to get China to trade more with foreigners during along the Silk Road. And this is like, it's crazy because after watching the movie, I got interested in it and, you know, started reading up and looking into the history. And like all of it is legit. Like they don't sugarcoat it. They don't romanticize it. It's exactly how it is. They showed, you know, them killing each other. They showed, you know, their opium dens where they had, like, it would be the equivalent of us having, you know, crack hoods or crack houses and stuff like that. They had their opium dens. They showed, you know, the men, you know, stealing little girls and trying to put them into prostitution as courtesans. They didn't call them prostitute, or they called them courtesans. China banned that shit, opium, shortly after that. This so-called country. What are you talking about, so-called country? This one? They had two opium wars. They had 2 of them. So it was the first one, and then during the first, to get to your melanated people, right? So I don't know how many of y'all are you know, West Indian or Caribbean, but you might know the term coolie, right? So the term coolie actually derives from the Chinese and their slave trade, because in the movie they was talking about, oh, y'all are one of the gangs was like capturing workers and then selling them to, I think it was the British, It was the British that they were selling them to be traded as slaves. But what they called them was indentured servants. And then again, like I said, I was reading into this. I was reading into the history, and again, how people always like to say, well, they weren't really slaves, they were indentured servants, they got paid, and da 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 da. When you look into the history of it, they got paid something like 20 cents a day, and then at the end of that day, they had to pay back $1 towards their debt, because it was messed up. And then a lot of them, they had contract times to where they were being indentured servants, so it'd be like 5 to 8 years, and within that contract time they would die out because of how brutally they were treated and how overworked they were. So a lot of us like to be like, oh, well, that's not the same, it wasn't the same as us, and they were indentured servants, same as with the Europeans. Oh, they were indentured servants, blah, blah, blah. The only difference between their slavery and our slavery is they got to keep their history, they got to keep their nationality. At the end of the day, they were still Chinese. At the end of the day, the Irish were still Irish. We were the ones who went in as Moors and then came out as Negroes, blacks, and colors. The little boy trying my patience today. So I'm sitting here researching this, and I'm like, damn. So then we get to the term coolie. Now, to me, coolie, in the term of reference that I have, because my husband is Jamaican, so coolies, peace, Hannibal, I'm watching you all while I cook my grub. What you making over there, Hannibal? Veggie burgers? Let me stop. Let me bring it back one more time. I have struck gold again. Listen, I'm telling you, David, sometimes I drop the gems. Sometimes I drop the gems. So coolie, in my frame of reference, right, was a mixed Jamaican person, usually mixed with Indian. And they had fine hair and stuff like that. And my husband would say that they were coolies. Now my aunt, who's also married to a Jamaican, told me that coolie was a derogatory word. So I didn't know that it was a derogatory word. And I was like, oh, okay, so now I know it's a derogatory word. But then, during my research last night, that the coolies were actually it wasn't derogatory, it was the term used for the laborers, the indentured servants, the Chinese laborers. So they took these Chinese laborers and they brought them all up, and this explains how the Chinese got to South America, how the Chinese got into the Caribbean, because they took them and they brought them over there, the British, to work, because this was after slavery, the slave trade had become abolished. So the European powers found like they always do, like a back road of how to get cheap labor without having to actually pay people. So they started using this this coolie and this indentured slavery. So they took the people, and after the first Opium War, there were treaties set up between China and Britain, and Britain became the most favorable nation, I think that's the term, the most favorable nation in terms of trade, and they were granted about 5 ports. So those 5 ports that they were granted, they were shipping out coolies, or indentured Chinese workers, coolies. So they were shipping them into Peru, they were shipping them into Cuba, which now makes sense because my grandmother, my Cuban grandmother, she has Chinese. One of her parents were Chinese, and I'm like, how the hell did that happen? Like, Chinese is really everywhere, da, 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 da. Or they were being, shipped over there. And a lot of them, I think they said the stat that I read was about 80% of those who went into indentured servitude. Kick that Moorish world history, princess, because you already know, Hannibal. So the indentured servitude that they went into, about 80% of them died off during that indentured slavery. And then I think one of the historians the quote that I read is that they were slaves in every sense except for the name slave. So they had the term coolie, but they were still slaves. Again, at the end of the day, the difference between their slavery and our slavery, the only difference between their slavery and our slavery is that they got to keep their history because they were already a part of a nation. So we had that, and then they also started trading not only the Chinese, but they also started trading the Indians, and they gave them a hierarchy. So the Indians, who were also called coolies, were like the lowest form of coolies. They said that the Chinese and the Japanese, they preferred them because they worked harder, and that the Indian coolies, they said that they had to oversee them or supervise them the way that they would supervise children. So you had the Chinese, the Japanese, and the Indians being shipped out into the West Indies, being shipped out into, Latin America, and then eventually being shipped to, we all know this, right? How the Chinese were shipped to continue building the the transcontinental railroad. So, and then like there's like some story about how, there's so many, Chinese bones and stuff like that, like under the transatlantic, I don't know, I keep saying transatlantic, the transcontinental railroad. There's so many Chinese bones, thousands of Chinese bones, because it was built off their backs, for indentured servitude. And many of them, they either went in voluntarily because they had debt in China, Pisahar, they had debt in China where like it would be like gambling debt or something like that. So they would sell themselves as indentured servants, again, under the premise that they were only going to work under this contract, that they were going to be compensated fairly, and that they were going to be treated fairly, when it wasn't like that. And then you had those who were involuntarily, like either kidnapped or, tricked into, and then the movie Rise of a Legend yesterday showed this, how the same Chinese went to other poor Chinese workers and say, hey, look, I got this amount of money and it's a very easy job. I faked getting like a medical screening so they can't tell if you're on opium or not, but this and that. So basically he was like tricking them and selling them into slavery. And again, we see that it was the Chinese selling and capturing other Chinese into slavery, but who was behind it? So when you went into this, where they called it a leprorium or something like that, where they kept all the Chinese, and then I was reading yesterday through like my little research about it, that they kept them on ships, they kept them in vessels similar to the way that they kept the Africans during the African slave trade. Similar to the way that they kept the Chinese all in chains and stuff like that. And then they showed this on the movie. Yeah, it's crazy, Hannibal. And again, who was behind this leprorium, who was behind this slave trade, was the Europeans. The Europeans were the one who were perpetrating this. So we can't keep saying, oh, we sold ourselves into slavery. We always have to look into history and put it into context as who was behind us, putting the bugs in our ear, saying we can give you, and it always comes back to money. It always comes back to how much money they would get or how much power they would get, in terms of it would be gunpowder and rifles back in Africa, and then here in China it was silver that they were trading. So we always have to recognize and look back and read between the lines and do our own research and history. Like I said, I watched the movie, and then last night I spent about maybe 2 hours researching this. And when you go and you type in opium wars, you only get like a certain like 2 little blurbs about the opium war. You have to start, clicking, and then I saw the term coolie. I clicked the term coolie, and then that's when I got all the kind of information about the coolie and the slave trade. Now, when you look and you Google coolie, or you Google Chinese coolie, and you go to images and you see what these people look like, even on the movies, even on the martial arts movies, they are dark skinned. They have copper tone. They have olive colored skin. It's crazy. It's crazy. They look nothing like the Chinese that we see today. They look nothing like these light bright, fair skinned Chinese that we see today. They were melanated people. And if you look at the pictures back as early as the 18, or as far, however you want to take it, as the 1800s, they were like, they look West Indian, or they look, it's crazy. And I see them out here as well. Like I said, I'm in Japan. For some of you all who don't know that, I'm in Japan. I'm on Okinawa, and you can see them. They have, olive colored hue. They tan and stuff like that. They don't get sunburned. They get tan. So that has to clue you in on how much melanin they actually have in their, in their DNA and in their bloodstream. And it was just interesting to me. And I'm like, I wonder if they are taught this in China as well, because then it kind of puts a whole perspective. I don't know how many of y'all, see this, see these videos on YouTube of Asiatic Moors going into China, and them being followed around by Chinese people, and them, being stopped by Chinese people taking their pictures and stuff like that, because like they've never seen them. So it puts a whole perspective. If that's what they're, is that an island? No, it's not off subject. It is an island. Okinawa is an island, like a part, like, cause so Japan, we know, is an island nation, but Japan has mainland Japan, where Tokyo and Hokkaido and Osaka, Kyoto, and all that is on mainland Japan. Then it has a series of chains of islands, and the chains of islands that I'm called exactly why we have to get off this. We were slaves. Every nation was enslaved at one time in history. Yes. So it was actually during this time that we had the entire slave trade. Like I said, it wasn't just Africans. It was Europeans. It was Indians. It was Chinese. Everybody was slave traded at one point in time. The only difference between their slave trade and our slave trade, and it is not the brutality. It's not how brutal it was, because these coolies were treated the same way as so-called blacks in America. They were treated the same way. The only difference between their slavery and our slavery is we were not allowed to keep our history. That's why when Chinese see a Moor with the fez, they will tell their ancient ancestors wore that crown. Yes, and I know of a Moor who's in China right now. I talked to him a little bit, and he was saying that how he builds with Moors out there in China. I'm like, yo, that's crazy, because I would love to find some Moors out here in Japan. And, when the weather gets a little bit nicer, I'm gonna start going out and, really trying to, like, going to the temples. They have a Masonic lodge out here. So I'm going to start, like, my little, snooping, my little detective work. I'm going to start it there, because coming here to Japan, I was really excited to find out, through firsthand experience, okay, just how deep, does this melanated people rule the was our global, because we hear it, they had the melanated people in Asia, and they were in the temples, and I want to see that for myself, and then I want to video that, I want to stream that to you guys from firsthand experience, not somebody telling you, but through firsthand experience. So hopefully I get the chance to do that. And hopefully my data doesn't run out, because sometimes my data be running out and I can't do nothing. But yeah, so it's just crazy to me. And then they sit there and they portray this through their movies. They tell you about, the inner warring between each other. They tell you how they sold each other into slavery. They tell you about, how they were, addicted to opium. And then they show you how they kind of got out of that. They show you their dignity, and they show you how they had honor. Whereas us Asiatics, we don't get that. Yo, listen. y'all gonna cut it, and that's gonna make me deviate to the thing that I wanted to talk about. But see, I don't want to get too messy. I don't want to get too messy. But my thing is it's crazy to me, kind of deviating from the subject. It's crazy to me how you Moorish sisters are Ruth the Moabites. She is revered in the second degree of Eastern Star. See, I told you Hannibal always come in here dropping knowledge. For it, I think he can't help it. I think he like I was telling him and Taj are so humble that they'll just come in and just start kicking knowledge and gems just because that information needs to be put out there. The information needs to be out there, and it doesn't always drop in jewels. So it's crazy to me how we can sit here and bite each other and pull each other. It's just this crab in a bucket thing. And like I always says, it always reverts back to the ego. Like you have to either move through your ego or move through your higher self. There's no in between. And when you're moving through your ego, other people who are in tune with their higher self, other people who have their third eye open, other people who listen to their gut and their intuition, everything that's in the dark is always going to come to light. And recent events that have been happening to me, that is what you say to an Eastern Star or Freemason. That Ruth of the Moabite thing, I'm gonna have to remember that when I go down to the lodge. You are the star in the east. That is what you say to an Eastern Star or Freemason. You are the star in the east. I'm gonna remember that. So again, when you're moving through your ego, other people would pick it up, and it doesn't matter how long. And this is the same thing that I tell my 9-year-old stepson. It doesn't matter how long you think you can keep up the lie. It doesn't matter how long, how hard you work, to keep this lie going. You need to blow your nose, Nugget? Hold up. Come here. Let me blow your nose. Ew, you got boogies. Yeah, you got boogies. Yeah. Yeah. Come here. Come around. He's got a little cold, so he got like snot running down his nose. So I gotta catch it before it goes in his mouth. But yes, so and I tell this to my stepson all the time, that telling a hard or a bitter truth is better than telling a soft and sweet lie, because and I'm speaking to him, from a parent to a child. Thank you, Sahar. Give thanks, my sister. I tell him from a parent to a child that no matter how much you think you're gonna get in trouble, and honest, it's gonna be 100 times worse when we figure out that you've been lying this whole time. So that kind of relates to a lot of us in this community. And I was on a show, I think a show or a podcast or something, that they invited me onto, so I can kind of like give my point of view as a woman in this conscious community, and how I spoke to them about them wanting unity between all they call them YouTube superstars, these YouTube pro-black all-stars. They were talking about Boyce Watkins and the stuff that happened with him, which I'm not going to go into because I feel like it's really unnecessary. But what I told them was nothing is going to happen. No unity is going to come between these heads, these YouTube all-stars, until we get their ego out the way. Because their ego is the only thing that's holding them back. The same as it would hold anybody back. When you have an ego, when you have motives that are not 100% pure, it's gonna come to light. When people, and I'm trying my best to, I'm trying my best to keep this general, to keep this light, and I don't want people to think that I'm subbing or I'm shading anybody. But again, like I said, recent information has come to me where it's really touched me, and it's got me like hot. Like I'm so hot right now, and I'm so disappointed, and I'm so hurt, and I'm hurt more of the fact that I seen this like I seen this happen, and I seen this coming, but I kind of wanted to deny the fact, like, no, this can't be, maybe it's in my mind, maybe I've been bred to be so skeptical about, about this conscious community, because we have the Umars, we have the Polites, we have all these people who have been outed and have done wrong. And I kind of wanted to like be like, nah, this can't be all of us. But it seems to be this is a trending topic. So great you said that they were brothers. Need to hear that from mother, a Moabites. But the thing is, Hannibal is are they even going to listen? That's the thing. Are they even going to listen? Because from my point of view, and from many of you all's perspective, the people that I do talk to, it seems like they kind of think we are stupid or we're dumb, and that we're not going to put two and two together. And that's why I keep saying to everybody on here, you guys have to be in charge of doing your own research, of gaining your own knowledge. Stop waiting for people to hand it to you, because if you sit there and wait to be handed all this information and all this knowledge, you're not going to sharpen your own pencil. You're not going to sharpen your own sword. Your sword is going to be dull. So when people are trying to pull the wool over your eyes, when people are trying to act like y'all are dumb, because they really truly believe that y'all are stupid. They really truly believe that y'all are some sleepy Moors. And they will sit here and say things that contradict their actions. They will do things that contradict the stuff that they say. And I'm sorry for getting emotional, but this is crazy to me. This is really crazy to me, because somebody that I see who's really down for his people, who is really super humble, who will sit there and give y'all, information like from any range of spectrum, from history to spirituality and everything like that. People who wear their heart on their sleeve, people who do this not for the money, not for the ego, but simply for the fact that, we as people need to stick together and need to rise together. We sit there and we'll turn our backs on them and we'll, try to undercut them for our own gains. And it's crazy. And it's not always the COINTELPRO Pro. It's not always an agent. It's just simple nigga shit. Sometimes it's as simple as that. It's just nigga shit that we've been bred to do. Never forget, the nigga industry is a big business. Your own take advantage of you. Yes, your own do take advantage of you. Your own will sit there and try to gain all this knowledge just to be like, I'm the first one, or I'm the only one who does this for you all. Not give credit to the many people, the many ancestors, the many elders behind them that pushed them forward, that gave them this knowledge. We don't just get, like, I don't just get this knowledge out of nowhere. This knowledge, like I said, is not mine. It's always and I always give credit to the ancestors. I always give credit to the elders. I never say that I'm the one who came up with this knowledge. I am not the one who came up with this coolie thing. I'm not the one who noticed, the indentured servitude of the coolies and connected it to the Moors. I'm not the one that did that. The only reason that I'm able to do that is because I have people before me who kind of gave me the breadcrumbs. I'm only picking up these breadcrumbs. So for us to sit here and say that I'm the one that came up with this, and you should only listen to me, and don't listen to nobody else, and don't give nobody their due credit, and don't give nobody this their shine, all the while saying that I don't get my due credit, I don't get my shine, I, and you can always tell when somebody's an egomaniac because all they say is I. They never say we. Like Ras Mariah Bey overcharged for nationality process. Listen, Hannibal, listen. I'm gonna let you say it because, you know, you're the one in it. You're the one in it. Well, not only that, but people forget that when you speak through this type of technology, you're emitting frequencies that people can pick up. So you speak bullshit long enough, you can smell it. Yes. And that's what Hannibal says. He picks up people's vibes, he picks up people's energy. And that's who he kind of feels like who he wants to deal with based on your energy, because he's been burned so much. He's been burned so much. And it's not always the COINTELPRO, it's not always the agents, it's not always that. Sometimes it'll be your own people. And I know y'all heard that before. It's your own people. But it's the same people. All right. Just calm down real quick because that's it. It really burns me. It really burns me. It really burns me. And it's crazy. And Hannibal, I have not known Hannibal that long, relatively, comparatively to other people that I've known longer. No, Hannibal. There's no thanks for me because, like I said, you have so many people in your corner that you don't know and that other people will not let. Yes, it is your own people. You have so many people in your corner, and don't let anybody ever try to tell you that we're not. Don't let anybody ever try to tell you that, you know, nobody wants to hear you speak, because I know a few people on here who want to hear you speak. I know people who are not even on this live stream who give credits to you and your father. Nobody else's name come up except for Taj Tariq Bey and Hannibal Bey. That's whose name come up. So the fact of the matter is that people trying to undercut you and people trying to say that what your points are not valid, or that what you have to say is not what we want to hear. I'm going to tell you right now, that's exactly what we want to hear. That's exactly what we want to hear. Because we can tell, like I said, we can tell when you're coming from the ego or when you're coming from the higher self. When you're coming with the motive of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, or when you're coming from some other motives. And a lot of people out here are coming from some other motives, and we see it. We see this. And it becomes more and more apparent. I did not say anything to you, and for me to wake up to that message, it's just like I said, everything in the darkness always comes to light. You cannot hide anything. Absolutely, much respect to Taj and Hannibal. That's right, Nugget. You can't hide nothing. You can't hide anything. And people already feel it. People already kind of aware of these things. They just need the confirmation. They need the confirmation. I found Taj first, then Hannibal knocked it out the park for me. Stay dropping gems. I'm sorry, but that just had to be said, because that's what really was like boiling my blood, and I was just so hurt to hear this information. And it's like, damn, I thought we was kind of over this. I thought, no, this whole Dirty Moore thing wouldn't reach as far as it reached, and I'm not calling anybody a Dirty Moore. I'm using it as a you know, turn of phrase or a reference, for lack of a better phrase or word. The fact of the matter is, we got to start supporting people who support us. We got to start showing love to people who show love to us, who don't just use us as a come up, who don't just use us as, you know, a crutch point, or when we do something for them, that's when they want to do something for us. As a leader, you put yourself last. You come last. The people come first. The people are who's supposed to come first. Man, listen. I'm sorry I had to get emotional on y'all, but like you don't understand how much that really burnt me up, and how disappointed I was in hearing this stuff. And it's not from one person. That's the crazy thing. If it was from one person, I'd be like, okay, nah, they hating, or maybe they just want some attention, or da 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 da. But when it's continuous and when multiple people start seeing the same thing, and this is what I was telling somebody else, like, it takes somebody from the outside who's not connected, who's not invested in it, to kind of point things out to you, and give you an outsider perspective, or give you a perspective that you weren't usually see. Like we can go and look at somebody in a whole different denomination, like somebody in the Hebrew Israelite, or somebody in the Pan African, and we can go sit there and point all these fingers and point out where they're wrong, because we're not invested in that. But when we're invested in something, we kind of become blind to the excuse me the effery that kind of goes on, and we kind of let it slide, or we trust so much in the person that you know they have the best of intentions, and that they may just get frustrated, or they just may get upset. But when you can go and you can see the clear transition, you can see the clear change in the person, and then not only can you see it, because you've been now given outside eyes, but other people can see the same thing that you're seeing. It no longer becomes a coincidence. It no longer becomes something that you got to be worried about it being real. You always have to trust your intuition. You always have to trust your gut. And when your higher self recognizes that someone else is coming from their ego, or someone else is not coming through with the best of intentions, you always got to recognize that. Because as long as you keep telling that inner voice, that conscience, that spirit, whatever you want to call it, as long as you keep ignoring them, as long as you keep telling them to shut up, they're gonna stop talking to you. And when it comes the time that you're really gonna need to hear that inner voice, you're not gonna be able to hear it, because you've been ignoring it for so long. Passing the plate around, like Taj said, they be in your pockets. They'll be in your pockets. They'll be in your pockets asking for pocket change, and giving half to Jesus, or giving half to Allah. It's sad, and it's crazy how it's become a plague. It's almost a sickness. It's almost a disease that you catch. Like, I hope I never, like, if my YouTube blows up, if I become somebody, I hope I never get like that. And if I do, please check me. Please check the dog shit out of me, because and the crazy thing is, I don't want people to ever be afraid. To be like, yo, Fox, you getting out of pocket, or Kit or Fox, whichever's cool, yo, Fox, you getting out of pocket, yo, you kind of talking down to people, or you kind of getting big-headed. Please check the dog shit out of me. Because I never want to get to that level where I'm just going to forget everything that I've been saying. I got you. I'm saving this video in case you forget. Please save it, repost it, like, share, subscribe, all that bullshit. You know what I mean? Whew. Let me get back into a good place. But that just had to be said, because I'm real tired. And it's crazy how it's just been building up. Little pieces, little blocks, little blocks. And the people who know, they know. The people who know what I'm talking about, they know what little blocks and what little pieces I'm talking about. And it's just crazy how it just bubbles over. Now I'm waiting for the next thing. Now I'm waiting for the next BS to come out. Because trust and believe me that if it's been like this, I'm pretty sure there's more to be, there's more to be seen, or there's more for us to uncover. And this is not no on no exposing nobody, you know, on no exposing nobody tip or nothing. Yo, Islam one, yo, you missed the doozy, bruh. You missed the doozy. I'm telling you. What you want? He missed the doozy. Papa's not here. Raya, I wish you were around to say that to Rosma Raya, Valerie Harvey, aka Valera Bay. Oh, I was just going in more comedy because I got some information today that kind of disturbed me, and I just had to go on a little rant. Yes, they both from Round Table. I just had to go on a little rant of how people be thinking that we're stupid and that we can't tell, you know, we can't tell things. LOL Hannibal. You know, these people think that, you know, a lot of us are you know, regular, you know, sleepy Moors, that we won't sit there and do our own research. We won't sit there and think for ourselves, that we'll sit there and continue to follow without question. And the crazy thing is that we do question. We question all the time. And I had to get a little bit, you know, in my feelings because it really touched me. You know what I'm saying? It actually really hurt me. So whew, let me just clear all of that out the way. No leader or teacher should be above questioning. Not at all. Not at all. And Hannibal told me this when I was calling him teacher, that I'm the teacher, that I'm the one that teaches him. He's not the teacher. He's the student. You know, and people have to kind of get that, you know, in their minds, or get that mind frame, or get that mindset. Question everything, no matter if you agree with the person or not. They may have the best of intentions, but like I said, Castro, like I said in the last laugh, Castro had the best of intentions. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. Any type of power corrupts. Any type of ego corrupts. Very true, because as one talks, the other listens, and the other learns. Yes. Wait, we're gonna play with the blinds again, Nugget? Always do your own research. Research the researcher. I know we heard that one too. Bruh, I always average 57 minutes late every time. The crazy thing is, Martinez, I went on a whole hour earlier. I went on a whole hour earlier. Martinez, I think you just on CP time. you on permanent CP time. You on permanent CP time. We just went through a whole bunch of stuff. Man. Yep, search the authors. You gonna have to go back and listen more comedy, because you know there was a lot, it was real heavy. It was real heavy what was just dropped, and I don't think I can go as, because I like I said, I talk off the top of the dome. Nothing is ever scripted. I come in here with something that I want to talk about, and it always, you know, turns into something else. Damn, I'm going to be looking at the video when we done. Give me those views. I'm not gonna lie, I ended up watching this debate with Tariq Nasheed and Jared Taylor. Why do you have to lie about that? I mean, you can subscribe to who you want to subscribe to. You know, and like I was just saying, you know, we think a lot of people are above this this crab in a bucket syndrome, we think a lot of people are above this this ego thing, but ego can corrupt anybody. Ego can corrupt anybody, and especially let me not forget this. Especially, ego can corrupt you when you have people pushing and backing that ego. When you have people gassing you up, as we like to say, you know, gassing your head, giving you a big head. When you got those type of people, you're more likely to keep working from the ego. Micah. You see, you know it's serious when I stop calling him Nugget and I call him Micah. If I stand through. Yeah, now you want to stop. Go on. You are right. Pride is poisoning to the soul. It absolutely is. It absolutely is. And what I was saying before is, when people who have their third eye open, or when people who have that intuitiveness, or when people can pick up on those stuff, and a lot of people like to say that oh, it's women who have the intuition and stuff like that, but no, men also have this. We all have this. We all have the intuition. We all have the ability to listen to our higher selves. Because all of us have higher selves. It's not just women who have higher selves. Men have higher selves as well. And, you know, a lot of men will give you the example as, you know, they were going out, you know, to a party with their friends, and something told them to not go to the party, and next thing you know, that party getting shot up. Or, you know, something told them to not do something, and something bad happen. So we all have this intuition. We all have this sixth sense, you know. And we all have the ability to listen to it. So when we listen to it, and when we start feeling those vibes, when we start getting those vibes from people, we got to stop questioning ourselves and start questioning the people that we get in those vibes from. We always tend to be like, well, nah, maybe it's me. Maybe I'm just crazy, or maybe I'm just overly sensitive, or maybe I'm just, you know, super skeptical. Nah, we got to stop questioning ourselves. Now we got to start questioning the people, because you can't have A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K happen and be like, nah, well, L is not, nah. That L is not for them. That L is for me. Nah, that L is definitely for them. They're going to have to catch that L. They're going to have to hold that L. And I'm telling you, nothing in the dark will stay there for too long. It'll always come to light. Your lies will always bubble up and burst. Your ego will always be seen for the people who are looking for them egos. Because if you look for them egos, you're going to find the ego. All the symptoms of an egomaniac, you cannot ignore that. And again, this is not shade at nobody. This is not subbing nobody. This is not none of that. These are facts. And the fact of the matter is, with the people who know what I'm talking about are the people who know what I'm talking about. They're the only ones that are going to get the shade, and they're only ones that are going to get the tea. Because at the end of the day, what has been brought forth to my attention, like I said, not by one person, not by two, but by multiple people during multiple times, not in the same day, multiple times over the years. And crazy thing is, my sister who ain't even conscious, she ain't even in this conscious shit, was the one to tell me, the first one to tell me. And I'm just like, nah, you don't know what you talking about. You don't know what you're talking about. And it's funny. It's funny how my sister, who ain't even conscious, was the one to tell me about it. But I had to ignore it, and I'll hear it from 3, 4, 5 other people. Lord, Kung Fu movies are dope. Martial arts movies are dope. Okay, now I really have to rewind this whole video. What they told you. Listen, I'm not snitchy McSnitch. You know what I'm saying? When somebody tells me to not say nothing, to not name names, I'm not gonna name names. You know what I'm saying? If the person want me to say, then I'm going to say it. Because like I said, I got now to that person. That's who I'm loyal to. I ain't got loyalties to nobody else. I got loyalties to that person. So if that person want me to speak the truth, then I'm gonna speak the truth. And whatever comes, so be it. So be it. But at the end of the day, I recognize when people come from their heart, and I recognize when people come from their ego. I recognize when people have an agenda. Five Deadly Venoms, my fave. You giving me more gems? Cause I'm gonna have to look that up. Five Deadly Venoms. Sound dope. I'm gonna have to look that one up. Man, listen. I'm telling you, I'm like my stomach is in like not knots, but it's like I got fire in my stomach right now. I got fire in my stomach. So I know, like, yo, I'm on here for a reason. I'm connected with the people I am for a reason. I got a purpose, and I'm gonna just keep chasing that purpose. And I'ma have to let people know. Old kung fu movie, Five Deadly Venoms. Hannibal giving y'all another gem. Hannibal giving y'all another gem. Free 99. Yeah, do that. Nothing by accident. Yeah, nothing is by accident. Nothing is, and you manifest everything into your life. I remember I even got hooked up with Hannibal. Before I even got hooked up with Hannibal, somebody, was talking, another Moor was talking to me, and they were like, oh, Taj is your teacher. And I was like, yo, I wish I could study under Taj. I wish I could learn from Taj, da 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 da. And they're like, yo, you are, don't worry, you are. I'm like, yeah, you're right. One of these days. And look what happened. Now, it wasn't even a month later that I got hooked up with Hannibal. Barrett, my bad, man, peace. You said you talking about martial arts. Oh, you're right. You're right, Hannibal. Let me get back. So my whole thing, Martinez and more comedy. What my video was originally about was how martial arts movies, how Chinese movies and Japanese movies kind of give. Yep, for real. I will one of these days too. Yes, you got to put it into the universe. The master keeping tabs on you. So yeah, he gotta keep me on the right track. So how these martial arts, these Japanese and Chinese movies kind of give you the whole scoop or the whole history of their people, and whether or not it may be a little bit romanticized here and there, like a little love story here and there, but like with Rise of a Legend, it wasn't directly so much a love story. It wasn't the main plot. The main plot was, what Fei Hong did to become who he was. And like I said, this is a real person. Fei Hong is a real person. Ip Man is a real person. And they have movies, based around their heroes. So what I was saying is, where are our movies based around our heroes? Where are our Tarif movies? You know what I'm saying? Where are our Mansa Musa movies? Where are our, Akhenaten movies? Our Amenhotep movies? Where are their movies? Okay? Because we don't have that kind of tie to history through entertainment, because those martial arts movies are entertainment. But and it's always made by Chinese people, right? Because if you go at the end of the credits, they're gonna show you, it was produced by this thing in China, da 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 da. and they have their people as a collective. No matter what you want to talk about their government or anything like that, this is besides the fact. I'm talking about the fact that they hold themselves as a nation. Everything that they're talking about. Yes, I love Ip Man too. Yes. Um, can you maybe Hannibal or you can or Barrett can tell me what is the name of the movie that talks about Fei Hong? I can't remember, but it had Chow Yun Fat. Chow Yun Fat was the one who played Fei Hong. We have to make our own spotlight. My interpretation. There are many people who are, not only producing, but kind of like making our own studios or making our own media outlets and stuff like that. But it's never from the perspective of the Moors. It's always from the perspective of the black person, of the African American person. Yes, we don't like that word black, right, Nugget? Nugget don't like that word black. He said black is a color. That's what the Nugget just said. Black is a color. I have it on my crayon box. Donnie Yen was in that joint. I think he was in the other one. I complained about that 20 years ago. The Europeans bastardized Imhotep in the mummy movies. Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely. Nugget is very woke. Sometimes too woke. Sometimes too woke. Hannibal gave me this gem to his third eye open, and I think I messed up because I made it way too open. And to deviate from the martial arts thing. So right with the third eye thing, right? He has this game, and I know y'all are kind of familiar like with these memory games. These memory games for children where they have the cards and you flip over the cards and you're supposed to match them with the other one, right? So I'm sitting here watching him play this memory game, and this is after the day after I did the third eye opening thing that you talking Hannibal. And he's sitting there, and I kid you not. I kid you not. I want to say sugar honey iced tea you not, but Nuggets right here. But I kid you not. He sat there and just like in one thing, he matched. And I'm telling you, these things are like turned over. Like you can't see, and it's on the computer, so it's not like he could look it up. He just sat there and matched it. And he's just going, like intuitively, just going, matching the thing. And I'm like, damn. I was like, shoot, I might have a little psychic on my. I got to kind of like put up a little shield when I'm gonna give him medicine or when I'm gonna clean up his nose or something like that, because he's gonna pick that up and run. But yeah, so I don't know if Donnie Yen, if that was I think Donnie Yen was in the prequel Ip Man movie, but I know the original Ip Man was Chow Yun. No, it was Donnie Yen. Was it or Chow Yun Fat, the Fei Hong? Yes, the Fei Hong was the one I'm talking about. Imhotep was well respected eons before Jesus. Imhotep was considered a holy being and was prayed to. Absolutely. Imhotep and Nefertiti, since we were talking about this whole Nefertiti thing, were both considered to be above average beings, and the Europeans tell you that they were extraterrestrial, that they weren't us. Donnie Yen was Ip Man. Yes, I'm talking about Chow Yun Fat was Fei Hong, because he had the umbrella, and that's what always gets me keyed into who I'm watching. I'm watching Fei Hong when you see the umbrella, because I don't know what connection he has with the umbrella or something like that. Somebody freaking Google that, please. What the name of that movie? I'm gonna Google it right now. I got my computer up. But yeah, Imhotep and Nefertiti, they kind of want to make it seem, not the Lemurian or the Syrian extraterrestrials, but they try to make it seem like they weren't us, is what they always try to do. The same as with any, if you they have a whole series on it, on History Channel, Ancient Aliens, that everything that's ever come about, in ancient history got to be aliens. It can't ever be us. It got to be aliens. Fei Hong. Fei Hong movie. What is it, Nugget? Wong Fei Hong. Once Upon a Time in China. Oh, that was Jet Li. What's the other one called? Oh, maybe. Oh, I'm all the way off. Damn, it's all Jet Li. I think that's yeah. All right, so I'm wrong. I take it back. It's not Chow Yun Fat. So who is Chow Yun Fat? Okay, so it was Jet Li, and it's Once Upon a Time in China was the movie that I'm talking about. I gotta see who Chow Yun Fat. What Chow Yun Fat movie am I thinking about? And don't say what's that? Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. I know that one. But he's in a lot of movies that I like. Chow Yun Fat. My dad, when you get a chance, watch Red Cliff 1 and 2. So I got Deadly Venom and Red Cliff 1 and 2. I hope my husband ain't seen any of these yet because he likes to watch all these kung fu flicks and then not let me watch any of them, and then when I want to watch them together, he's like, oh, I already seen this. Okay, well, shoot, I guess I was wrong. Damn, this chat is lit. Reading everybody's comment, I'm like studying for a test in 1 hour. King and Liu Bang Wars. All right, well, damn. Okay, so I take it back. It's not Chow Yun Fat. It's not Chow Yun Fat. It was Jet Li in Once Upon a Time in China that played Fei Hong. And Chow Yun Fat is just an awesome actor that I love a lot of his movies. Like A Better Tomorrow. 14 Blades was dope too. See, I'm gonna have to write this stuff down. And Bulletproof Monk. Y'all seen Bulletproof Monk? I like that movie too. A Better Tomorrow and Bulletproof Monk are like one of two of the favorite Chow Yun Fat movies that I really like. All right, so there's that. I was wrong. See how easy it is to admit when you're wrong? I was wrong. It wasn't even Chow Yun Fat. It was Jet Li. I'm taking notes of all of this. Yeah, so we got Deadly Venom. We got Red Cliff 1 and 2. And what was the other one we talking about? 14 Blades. Living Legends, true story about drunk. Can you stop dropping gems too, Barrett? Barrett always, Nuggets says stop dropping gems. 9, 10, 11. All right. So, Omari's about to come home. When I taught my hip hop dance class, I would show 5 Deadly Venoms piece where the snake taught the toad. See, now I'm interested in this movie. Why are you coughing on me, nasty? And it is crazy to me how much martial arts or martial arts movies is into like our culture. Like I forgot what I was watching, but they were saying how Bruce Lee and the kung fu movies at that time kind of influenced hip hop and influenced the and you can give your piece on this, Hannibal, because again this was during your time. Damn, all of it's on YouTube too. For real? Ooh, dope. When I was a teenager, I got the snake moves and used it in my hip hop dance. See? Was that the one where the dude had the venomous claw? They influenced, they influenced Wu-Tang, obviously, but Wu-Tang was way after kind of the beginning of hip hop. But I'm talking about the beginnings of hip hop. I forgot. I think it was KRS-One. No, it wasn't KRS-One. It was something else that I was watching where they were saying, everybody kind of wanted to be Bruce Lee at that during that time. Everybody wanted to be Bruce Lee, and how he was, and kind of the morals of the stories that he had, that kind of spoke to the teens of that time, and kind of influenced hip hop. But you can obviously see that, not just with Wu Tang, but with a lot of older hip hop artists. Grandmaster was in a lot of these names. Grandmaster, the Flying Guillotine was also dope. Masters of the Flying Guillotine. Was that the Venomous Claw? That might have been I know Master of the Flying Guillotine had the old the blind master, and he had the like kind of contraption where he threw it around and like whipped it back and just like cut off their heads. So what's your thought on Black Panther, Kid? All right. So we're gonna stick with movies then. Again, like I told you before, Derek, my sole purpose of watching Black Panther, I am clueless regarding these movies. So how you got to get into the martial arts movies, girl. They're really enlightening. Another movie, Kid with the Golden Arm. Lord, see, I'm glad I'm reading these out loud, because I don't gotta see, maybe I should start keeping a pen and a paper with me when I'm doing these lives, because y'all be giving me gems too. Like I said, Sahar, even if it's not for the entertainment fact, you can always get the historical facts within these movies. And that's what a lot of these movies have, is historical facts. They're almost like what's the fake documentaries called now? When they kind of want to make it seem like a documentary, but it's not. I forgot what they're called. We about to start doing that too. Negro Sellouts and Dirty Moors Flying Guillotine. You stop it. So, with Black Panther, my sole purpose of watching Black Panther is because before I became conscious, I was a heavy, heavy, heavy comic book fan. And I'm not talking about just the movies or TV shows. I actually had comic books. I actually have the whole volume of Lord, now it's flipping my head. It's not the X-Men, but it's like X Factor. That's what it's called, X Factor. Fist of the White Lotus was yeah, I seen that one. Like I said, my dad around your age, Hannibal. He may be a little bit older than you, but all those kung fu movies from the 70s and 80s, he had all of them, and I was always watching all of them. So like Barrett said, the Masters of the Flying Guillotine, which is actually one of my favorites, even though it's 70s, so they're yes, I collected comics. I had the whole X Factor, the whole volume of X Factor from 1 to 5, and I would sit there and read it all over the time. And X Factor is when they had the X-Men and Fantastic Four and some of the Avengers, and I think it was right before Civil War. Sorry, getting a little geeky on y'all. Getting a little comic book geeky on y'all. But yeah, so that's my perspective coming into Black Panther. I'm not all about, it's the all black, so-called black cast, and it's one of our superheroes, da, 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 da. We got a superhero, because everybody forgot about Falcon, right? Everybody forgot about Falcon and War Machine, because they were also so-called black superheroes. Everybody forgot about that. Oh, we got the first so-called black superhero. We got, somebody our children could look up to. Da 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 da. Why isn't the boy home yet? Oh, there he is. Hello, Amari. You got homework? You do? I thought you don't have homework on Friday. Okay. Can you do me a favor?
Yes.
Can you take your brother into your room, please, until I finish this live, and then we gotta go. I gotta fix you the lunch, and then we gotta go to your parent-teacher conference.
It's at 1:45.
Hmm?
It's at 1:45.
No, it's at 1:25.
Oh, sorry. It ends at 1:45.
I'm sorry, y'all, it kind of turned around. I had a whole bunch of comics before my bro sold them all to get his fix. That's sad. You're the coolest wife. Your mate is blessed. Thank you. Oh, sorry.
For you.
Thank you. Take your brother, take some block, and go into your room, please. Make sure you turn on that heater too. We need to watch Avatar: The Last Airbender under our open eyes now. Multitasking. Yeah, that's being a mom and a wife. You got to be multitasking. Yes. Their school ends at midday, but this is what I was just telling Raya. Their school does not end at midday. We have parent-teacher conferences today, and for some reason, they want to make parent-teacher conferences during the middle of the day, where parent-teacher conferences for, back in our day used to be, at the end of the day, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the evening, when your parents were off of work and stuff like that. So I have to go now because my husband is at work and he can't get off of work to go to the parent-teacher conference. So I got to go to the parent-teacher conference. But yeah, so with Black Panther, we kind of forgot. Yep, after 6 p.m. And there was no excuse for your parents not, because that was the end of the day, right? So there was no excuse that your parents couldn't go to to the parent teacher conference. So you got to be shook. You had to be shook. Yeah, the teachers think they're shook. Last time the parent teacher conference, they canceled the whole day of school. They canceled like 2 whole days of school, and I'm like, yo, they really don't want to keep these children at school. That's enough. That's enough, Amari. Take the ball in there too, and that's it. So yeah, it's funny. These teachers really do think they're slick. But before, yes, two whole days. It was like a Thursday and a Friday, and then on that Monday, school was out anyways because it was a holiday. I think it was I don't know why it was a holiday, but it was Columbus Day. So it was the 2 days before the long weekend of Columbus Day. So they had like 5 days off. Like these teachers think this like, you good, Ryan? You ain't gotta you good, girl. But yeah, so with Black Panther, we kind of forgot. You know how we had Falcon and we had my bad. What was you saying about? No, you good. You good. You know, like I said, we be bouncing all over the place, but I always come back. I always come back. Um, we forgot about how Falcon was so-called a black superhero for the Avengers. We forgot how War Machine was a so-called black hero for the Avengers. Sorry, so used to having to explain myself when leaving the stream. No explanations needed. All right, and and now we're saying, oh, we finally got a so-called black superhero to look up to, and da 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 da. Exactly, like I told you, nobody really knows about Black Panther having the rule book on defeating Thanos. Exactly, or any of Black Panther's history. Nobody. Thank you. And they don't even know Blade is from comic books. Blade is from comic books. Actually, I think Blade is a Marvel character. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think Blade is a Marvel character. I want to say he's Marvel. God, I can't remember, but yes, Blade. Right, Blade had 3 whole movies. 3 whole movies, and everybody forgot. Oh, you know, we don't got no black superheroes, da 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 da. But they didn't see Blade as a so-called black superhero.
Now,
DC.
all my studying materials, the left one. So luckily we're going to the conference, so I'm
Okay.
just grabbing them.
Okay. Yes. So, what's Blade? Yo, did they kill off War Machine? Did he die? No, I don't. Did he die in in Infinity War? I know he got really injured. Now I gotta remember. I don't think he died. Stanley racist. But the crazy thing is, you got these Europeans talking about Black Panther is racist. What if we made a movie about the KKK? And I'm like, do they know who even created Black Panther? Do they know the whole thing about Marvel and the mutants and how that was kind of paralleling the civil rights movement? Yes, Blade was played by Wesley Snipes. Stan Lee didn't turn up in any of Blade movies. So I think Barrett was right. Was that he is DC. What was that superhero on Netflix? The so-called Black Luke Cage. Luke Cage was also Marvel. So again, these people who are hopping onto this bandwagon of, oh, we got our so-called black superhero that everybody could look up to and da 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 da, don't really know the history of comics, especially Marvel comics, because Marvel, correct me if I'm wrong again, Marvel was one of the first to put out so-called black superheroes. They were one of the first to put out so-called black superheroes. And it started with a woman, I believe. Blade opened the door for all Marvel movies in theater. All right, so now let me go to my trusty internets, because I'm not afraid to say I be Googling. I be Googling facts. And some people be Googling stuff and say they don't Google nothing, but they be Googling. Back to the movies. Let's see, Blade. Blade. But yes, so I'm glad you brought that up, Barrett, because we all forgot about Blade. But again, these people who oh no, Blade is Marvel. See, I knew it. Blade is Marvel. Published by Marvel Comics. 1973 was the first appearance. What about Storm in the X-Men? Yeah, so I'm trying to figure out who Marvel's the Netflix show, though. The Netflix show is Luke Cage. That's who you're talking about on Netflix. The superhero, the so-called black superhero on Netflix is Luke Cage. And he's supposed to be super strong. Luke Cage. Listen, it's Luke Cage. And I'm glad they didn't put him in that whole blaxploitation getup that he used to be in the comic books. Marvel's it was nice. Now DC had Shaq to play in the Steel Superman. It was a failure in theaters. Yeah, because we don't. Again, we want to say, oh, I'm glad you said that too, Hannibal, because we like to say that, oh, they don't put our people in movies like that and da da da. But when they do, it sit there and it bomb and it fail 9 times out of 10. Marvel's first, and it hurts me to type in Marvel's first black superhero. That shit hurt me. I guess it was Black Panther was the first, but I could have sworn it was a woman though. I could have sworn it was a woman. I'm sorry, I just missed some of that stuff. Hannibal, he speaks too slow. do y'all remember Kazam? I was watching Kazam the other day, and it's crazy how they had him in the turban in Kazam. They had him in the turbans in Kazam. Do y'all remember that? he had two dope turbans, and I'm like, damn, I wish I had a turban like that, because his turbans in Kazam was kind of fly. And he was talking about, you know, how he was 3,000 years old and da da da. So they kind of low key was hipping you to the Moors in Kazam. Ain't that funny, y'all? Ain't that funny? Do y'all remember that? It came out before Blade. Yo, my fave was Spawn, which came out a year before Blade. Hannibal got a dial on his ass. Got a dial on his as his keyboard. What? Okay, well, again, I stand corrected. Black Panther was actually um, the first so-called black superhero. Maybe it wasn't Marvel, but it was somebody else. All Negro comics. So we even had comic according to my research right here, we had comic books portrayed by all of us. Just all it says all Negro comics here. 1947. Mandrake the Magician featured the African supporting character Lothar from 1934. He was a former prince of the Seven Nations, a federation of jungle tribes, but it passed on the chance to become a king. Instead, follow Mandrake on his, of course. So we always got to be following the freaking European. Static Shock was dope. Yes. So we had loads of them. We had loads of them. So and I don't know why Black Panther, and I think it's because of the name, because the name Black, right? Black Panther. That's why everybody is kind of into, and then we have the so-called all black cast in Black Panther, and that's why everybody's so waiting for update of Man. Static had the whole soundtrack too. Yes, Nick Cannon did voice Static Shock. Made all the other cartoons look corny. At that point in time, during that, I think that was early 2000s when we got Static Shock, but we had a whole bunch of our characters and stuff like that. But again, if you want to look into anime, which I know Hannibal hates when we go into anime, but anime had a whole bunch of so-called black and African characters and stuff like that in anime. But again, they always are representative of a nation. They always have a nation. They're not black. And I think that's the main thing that so-called blacks in America kind of want. They kind of want the black name. They want, black people. They want, the street guy, the hoodlum and stuff like that, which I think why Luke Cage became so popular. Luke Cage became so popular because he was he was a modern, superhero, in New York City at that. And he identified as black, from my understanding. Whereas Static Shock is Black Lightning. I watched it on Tuesday night. It's good. Jill Scott guest star in it. Channel 57, the CW for me. So yes, so we always had these so-called black characters in movies. So again, the hype I think is but behind the name, because everybody is always so emotionally attached to the name Black. Again, I still get notifications from that Afro Latinos are not black video because people cannot get over that term black or really understand what it means. That it means pale. I'm gonna have to check that out. So Black Panther, not only with the so-called all black cast and the name black in the title, you know, Black Panther, we always associate that with the Panthers movement of the civil rights era. So I think that's what all the hype comes about. But again, we have to realize that T'Challa is a Wakandian. Wakandian. He's from Wakanda. He has a nation behind him, and maybe that's what we can kind of teach these people who are just going to see. But again, I feel like, you know, the stuff that they can be learning from the movie is gonna go right over their head. Just like that video that you showed me, Barrett, All of the Stars with Kendrick Lamar and SZA. All that imagery and stuff is gonna go over their head. They're just gonna be like, oh yeah, Black Power, Africa, da 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 da. Not gonna kind of connect the dots of what it is. So what all they're gonna get is the imagery to invoke the emotional connection to where they're gonna be focused on this music video, and then you're going to have the frequencies being emitted through the music, right? So they're not even going to catch the subliminal of the goddesses being, you know, 15, 30 feet tall, to whereas if you look in ancient Kemetic culture, that the pharaohs had five levels of consciousness, and every time they had a level up in consciousness, it also changed not only their DNA structure but changed their height. So at the fifth level of consciousness, you had the height of, like, I think 50, 60 feet, and you can think about Metatron, the angel Metatron, who was 50, 60 feet, who is at the height, was the epitome of consciousness. So again, but when you have these sleepy Moors watching this video, they're not going to see those subliminals. That's what I was trying to tell you. They're not going to catch those subliminals. What they are going to catch, though, is them being emotionally invested in the video, because A, it's SZA, and B, it's SZA and Kendrick Lamar. B, it has all the African themes and symbols and stuff like that. So they're gonna be emotionally invested in it. They're gonna be like, oh, SZA, who's like the big female now, telling you that her man is your man and your man is her man too, and y'all can share men and y'all can be cool. And Kendrick, who's the self-proclaimed King Kendrick now, who is telling y'all y'all are not black, but won't tell y'all that y'all are Moors, would show fezzes in that video, but again, still won't tell y'all that y'all Moors, who would tell y'all that y'all are Hebrew Israelites now. And if you know anybody in the Hebrew Israelite, you know, movement right now, they don't even associate with Moors. So even if we know that the Hebrew Israelites are the same as the Moors, we are one same people, again, dealing with the sleepy Moors. So they're going to be watching this video, and they're going to be getting all emotionally invested in it. So it's already going to open up their subconsciousness to it, because they're already tuned in. And then they're going to be emitting these frequencies in this music video. That's why I said you got to be careful with repeatedly watching it over and over and over again, because you're not only exposing yourself to these frequencies and stuff like that, but you won't even be aware that you're exposing yourself to these frequencies, because now you're kind of caught into that trance where you've been hypnotized. You listen to it once, okay, you listen to it twice, 3 times. After 3, 4 times, then you're starting to be programming yourself. So even when you're listening to any type of music now, you have to be careful. Like, you have to see what frequency this music is being made in. Is it the 432 hertz frequency, or is it the 440 frequency? Is it the frequency to throw you off, or is it the frequency to heal you? Because anything that is made in the 440 frequency, no matter how powerful it is, we have to understand that the people behind the scenes are the one that is pulling the strings, that are programming, you know, how they used to say, they take the master of the record and go and do rituals on the master of the records behind the scenes, you know, in the deep dark parts of the record label companies, right? They'll go into the secret floors, you know, like a you know, evil layer, the evil villain layer. Since we're on superheroes, we'll go to the evil villain layer of the record company and do all these rituals on the master, and then replicate that master and put it out there. So now the artist may be completely unaware of what has been programmed into their music, but we're getting that programming. Just like how I told you I can't stop listening to that day I couldn't stop listening to the Finesse remix with Cardi B. Like I couldn't stop listening to it, and then just that whole 90s vibe, that shit cut me again. So they'll play to something that you're attracted to. They'll play to something that you're emotion. Oh, they got the African, you know, the African vibe, and they got the African drums, and they got the African face paint and stuff like that. The wizard behind the drapes. Yes, the Wizard of Oz. Damn, you know about that regarding the record company. Damn. Yeah, listen, nothing in the darkness is going to stay there for too long. It's always going to come to light, Hannibal. And I'm telling you, this technology is crazy, where you may know something in your circle, but you're not knowing that it's gonna be put out. It's gonna be put out. People are gonna get hit to this knowledge, and people are getting hit to this knowledge, no matter what we're talking about. Whether we're talking about people, or whether we're talking about products, or whether we're talking about, you know, anything. Especially today, you cannot hide from anything. Just like you can't hide from the CIA or the FBI. Nothing that you got can be. Now Finesse is definitely social programming. That's social programming, but Kendrick Lamar ain't, right? Because hashtag Kendrick said it. Hashtag Kendrick said it. Yes, Finesse is definitely social programming. So because that whole album with Bruno Mars, that's why I keep bringing up the 7 hidden hypnosis laws the masses need to know. Exactly. And that's what I was trying to tell Barrett. He, you know, listening to it repeatedly, you are hypnotizing yourself. So when you have something on repeat back to back 5, 6, 7, 8 times in a row, you already fallen into that hypnosis, whether you know it or not. Yeah, it's true. When you burn the disc, you can see the red entities. Yes, absolutely. And it's really funny. It's really crazy. Hannibal, do you do live stream? I keep telling him that he needs to get on that live stream thing, because he'll have people like us supporting him. Like, let me just tell anybody that Hannibal's doing live stream will flock. Just like how you know, Taj be going live on Facebook every Friday. You know what I'm saying? Hint, if anybody didn't know, Taj goes live on Facebook. Barrett can tell you better than I can, because I don't have Facebook. I don't have Facebook. Barrett can tell you how to get to that information. Also, if you want to donate to Taj Tariq Bey, the woman who runs that Facebook page, again, Barrett can tell you better than I can, but that she be sending donations. I'll teach you how to do live stream, Hannibal. That's what I told you. I gotta teach you how to do the live streams, so you can be on here dropping those gems. You can be on here dropping those gems like you do, and nobody will stop you. We'll all be listening to you. We'll all be listening to you. So yeah, it's crazy. Yes, please let Hannibal know, because I be trying to tell him, but maybe he'll hear it from somebody else, that he got so many people in his corner to help him out and to support him, because we want you back on the scene, Hannibal. So yeah, it's crazy, and Barrett disappeared. I hope he ain't taking me as giving him shots, though he shouldn't. He got thick skin, and we be going at each other's neck sometime, but it's all out of love. Burn any disc you have to see it for yourself with your own eyes. Dr. Nalia L does the Facebook She told me after Friday class. Yes, I'm just saying as far as the imagery and what the vibe I got, it was good. Of course, just say they happy to see black people. Yes, he was definitely dropping some on some. Yeah, he always drops wherever Hannibal goes. Those he doesn't drop breadcrumbs. He drops gems. He drops jewels. He don't drop breadcrumbs. He drops whole jewels and gems. Um, yeah, I get what you were saying. I get what you were saying. She said it was over 6,000 views. Well, the one that I, because I went to go try it on my husband's Facebook, he had less than views on Facebook. Um, so, but like I was saying, I understand what you're saying. I understand, like I said, the imagery that we get. But like I said, they are not going to put out this imagery for free. They're not going to put out the imagery without having something. They're not going to wake you up, basically. Because if they were going to wake you up, all the things that we were saying, all the media, all the music that we were saying would already be out and be hot and be popping. Dr. Nalia Gilliam said she was going live on YouTube soon too. So that's dope because then I can actually catch these lives and I don't gotta pay $50 to see Taj. Which I'm cool. I'm cool paying $50 because like I said, I support I support people and I'll definitely support Taj and I'll definitely support Dr. Kaba. So I'm looking forward to the classes. I am not looking forward to waking up at 5 a.m. at 6 a.m. to catching those classes because it's at nighttime for y'all, but it's gonna be early Sunday morning and early Monday morning for me. And I'm gonna have a big old cup of coffee and a pen and a paper, and I'm hoping I can pay attention at that point in time. Cause it's gonna be like 6 a.m. for me, 7 a.m. for me, and I'm not usually up, especially with the Nugget. I'm not up until like 9 o'clock in the morning. So that's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be fun. I can't wait. I hope with the live stream I'm gonna be able to comment, but even if I can't comment, because I'll be there and I'm waking you up. Listen, I got alarms already set. I got alarms already, so I'm gonna wake up. Trust me, because like my husband said, I know you're not gonna pay $50 to fall asleep and miss it. And I was like, you damn right. I'm not gonna pay $50 to miss Kaba and Taj Tariq Bey going in. I would support Hannibal. Oh yeah, like I said, I told him he got so much support from us. Let it go to waste. Yes, let all that knowledge go to waste. I'm not gonna let that knowledge go to waste. So yes. But back to the music and the movies and stuff like that. So we just gotta be careful of what we're taking in, and know that at this day and age, at this point in time, if they are, any type of, mainstream famous type, they are in that little brotherhood or whatever, that Illuminati or whatever you guys want to call them, a secret society or whatever. They are initiated into it. There's no doubt about it. There's way too much evidence that shows it, or that's pointed to it. There's way too many people that already came forth and told y'all about this. So it doesn't matter, if you think they got the best intentions, like I was talking about with R. Kelly. It doesn't matter if you love R. Kelly's music. It doesn't matter if he's saying, I believe I can fly. He was still outside of the Chicago schools waiting for little girls, okay? And those are the facts. We're not going to go on emotions. We're not going to go on, oh, I love R. Kelly, and the songs that he sings is so great, da-da-da-da-da. We're going to go on the fact that multiple people has come out and said it. Multiple times he has paid off these families. You go to Chicago and ask anybody in Chicago, because my stepmother's from Chicago. You go to Chicago and ask anybody in Chicago, and they'll tell you that parents had to go to their school touching little girls. R. Kelly actions speak louder than words. Yes. Yes, Hannibal. Yes, R. Kelly used to be waiting outside in his limousine in his limousine outside of middle schools waiting for little girls. What do you think about Quincy Jones' wife said about Richard Pryor? What did she say? What did she say? But yeah, it's been documented that and not only documented, but it's been, it's well known in Chicago that parents literally had to go to their middle schools because R. Kelly was waiting outside for their daughters. So the parents would have to go to their middle schools and pick up their daughters, so R. Kelly wouldn't take them into their limousine and sweet talk them and piss on them. So again, let's get the emotions out the way. Let's get the "I believe I can fly" out the way. Let's get all out. Let's get, "Step in the Name of Love" out the way. These people, yeah, that Richard Pryor statement from Quincy Jones. What happened with Richard Pryor? Wasn't his wife like 15-year-old when you talking about Aaliyah? He married Aaliyah when Aaliyah was like 15, 16, I believe. Yeah. So again, and that is public knowledge. Kendrick been pushing this Hebrew Israelite stuff. I seen the video with him in some Jewish garb on during the Grammys, and the Moses reference during the video "All of the Stars." Shit, cray. She said Richard Pryor was bisexual and that he slept with Marlon Brando. Whoa. Damn. But I never liked R. Kelly when I found out in the early 90s. But like I said, we see videos of R. Kelly, and I will always go back to the Dave Chappelle skit, where he was like, he played R. Kelly, and his grandmother was sitting in the room, and she said, "What do we have to do to believe that this was R. Kelly?" The girl have to Richard Pryor said he sucked D for coke on one of his sets. Yeah, then he married Aaliyah, yep. But Richard Pryor admitted he slept with a transgender, though. Well, see, okay, so how can I put this without sounding like I'm being hypocritical? Because I'm not. I'm just gonna be honest and 100 from what I see, right? Because like I said before, when we're talking about the homosexual agenda and all that stuff, we have to look at yes, I want to piss on you. I remember that. And remember, he was like, what do we have to believe? I'm gonna touch on the Richard Pryor thing after this. What do we have to do to believe that it was R. Kelly and this girl was underage? Do we have to have the video? Richard Pryor joked at his comedy roast that he was with the transgender, him and Paul Mooney. So put a pin on that Richard Pryor thing. So and then I'm gonna research that after, but I'm gonna just give you my opinions because I'm not well researched in it. So Dave Chappelle said, what do we have to do to believe, right? Do we have to have the girl holding up 2 forms of IDs? Do we have to have, constant video streaming and have R. Kelly's, grandmother and all the writers on the Dave Chappelle show? So basically saying, how much more evidence do we need to say that R. Kelly, it's a comedian from Chicago, said R. Kelly effed one of his homeboy's young daughter. I mean, again, like I said, how many times do we need people to come forth and say that R. Kelly did, you know what I'm saying? Like, people are so biased and hypocritical. Oh, there is a video showing the cop beating the so-called black person in the street, and we believe that because it's on videotape. But here we go, we got a videotape of R. Kelly peeing on a little girl. How old is the 15 skit? Well, how old is 15 really? Yeah. Again, so how much evidence do we need? Because again, we're so attached to R. Kelly emotionally. We worship R. Kelly as being, the greatest songwriter, and all of this, but the Boondocks cartoon spoof R. Kelly pissing on the little girl. Exactly. So we have all these, and just like in the Boondocks thing, right? Huey was the only one saying we don't care about him peeing on a little girl. we care about the music, and it was evidence that in that episode of the Boondocks, they only cared about him allegedly, right? Allegedly, you know, they only cared about his music, and that's what we had. We have people pushing it still. People pushing it. Oh, R. Kelly, he's the greatest. He's the world's greatest. Like, no, let's stop. Let's stop with the bias talk, the bias crap. There's so much evidence. Now, again, now to touch on this Richard Pryor thing, the homosexual agenda, right? We have to understand that there are people in place that's perpetrating this, right? And again, if you look at the entertainment industry, if you look at Hollywood, if you look at the music business, you know that they do funny stuff with men's butts in the music industry and in Hollywood. Not me. R. Kelly lost me when he married Aaliyah in the early 90s. I was surprised he got more famous because people don't care. Because people don't care. People are only going to associate him with his music. Oh, R. Kelly is so great. Oh my God, I love Bump and Grind. I love You Remind Me of Najib. I love this song. I love that song. They framed him. They just trying to tear the black man down. Da 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 da. Like, but at the same time, booty warriors, yes. So we know in Hollywood, and we know in the music business that they got people out here being booty warriors. That to make it, you gotta be a booty warrior, or you gotta let some warrior you, right? You gotta do some funny stuff with other men. Yo, I got one Diddy that's hilarious. I heard this years ago before the Fruity Booty stuff came out about him. But like I said, there are so many people that are exposing this stuff in the music industry, and then they come up dead. They come up dead. So you'll have artists who come up dead. You'll have look at Prodigy. Prodigy was sitting there exposing all the stuff about the so-called Illuminati, right? And then he dead. Everybody cracking up. We have to remember Hollywood is the first earth chakra. So it's very sexual there. But see, we also have to remember, break down Hollywood, right? Hannibal, break down Hollywood. What was Holly used for? And the wood, right? The wood signifying the wand, all right? So it's a lot of sorcery that goes on there because the sexual energy, and that's again there's levels to it, right? There's levels to the consciousness. So not only are they using, this sexual sodomy on men to kind of blackmail them into doing whatever. So if you don't, perform, if you don't, accept what we're pushing on you, we're going to expose you as being homosexual. So to the Richard Pryor thing, right? If you don't do what we want you to do, we're going to expose you as being homosexual. But again, like you were talking about, the chakra and the energy. So when you are, and this is what I said about this before, especially with the Europeans, right? The Greeks and the Romans, when they prowled on each other, when they made other men submit to them, not only was it for submission, but it was for dominance. It was for that sexual dominance. You see, it was the home for the first satanic church. Exactly. And that's why all these rituals that they go through are satanic rituals, masked as Masonic rituals. People like to think that it's Masons, it's Freemasonry, that is satanic, but it is like any type of energy work. It's just energy. At the end of the day, is what you choose to utilize that energy for. Are you going to use that energy for evil, or are you going to use it for good? And that's what it is. Just like masonry. You can use masonry for evil, or you can use it for good. You can use any of this sexual energy. You can use it for evil, or you can use it for good. So with with the sexual submission of the man. Not only are they using it as like blackmail for these artists and actors and so on and so forth, but they are also using it to reap the sexual energy that they're getting, because they are vampires. These people are vampires. Kick the ballistic sheriff. I'm trying. Truth, positive versus negative charge. Yes. So what will you use it for? Just like with the crystals, right? With the crystals, my citrine crystal, the abundance. Am I gonna use that for positive abundance, or am I gonna use it for negative abundance? And am I gonna use it for abundance for my ego, to feed my ego, or am I gonna use it for abundance to feed my higher self? It's all about what we choose to do. It's all about what path we choose to take. So a lot of these people who are chasing after the fame and the fortune, who are living through their root chakra, who are living through the sacred. The elite have a ritual where they sacrifice their empathy every year. They throw a huge owl with a furnace in the belly of the owl. Yes, what is it called? Damn. See, I've been out of this sector of the conspiracy theory crew for so long, I can't remember a lot about. Damn it, what is it called? With the damn owl. And they do that ritual every year in Hollywood. But also the pain to the rectum was used to hack into the individual. Yes, yes, more comedy. So exactly. So like I said, there's different levels to it, right? There's different levels to it. So you have the basic level, the surface level of the blackmail. You have the dissociative identity, or the split personality, the multiple. That's why all of the Bohemian Grove. Thank you, Martinez. Yes, Bohemian Grove. I know it was with a B, and I wanted to say Baphomet, but I was like, that's not what it's called. Yes, Bohemian Grove. The owl represents wise. Yes, that's what it's called. It's called Bohemian Grove. So you have this split personality and dissociative identity disorder, which also goes into MK Ultra, right? So all of these, and they have these code names. The monarch butterflies using it. The kitten, the sex kitten, right? So you can tell who are sex kittens by the prints, the leopard prints, so they take all these things that we use as you know, what our ancient ancestors use, and they kind of pervert it. They pervert these things and use it for their means and how they want to portray it in these satanic rituals. So when you see the butterflies in your music videos, right? So you can look it up if you're not familiar with any of this. Excuse me. The butterfly signifies the monarch butterfly, which signifies an MK Ultra, the sex kitten. So when they are dressed in cat suits, when they are dressed in leopard print, you know what I'm saying? They are used, and like I said before in another video, that the women have it 10 times worse. Game had a butterfly, yes. So, and that's why a lot of these artists take on different names once they get up into and initiated into that level So the names that they were associated with before they got initiated drop. So that's why I said we no longer got K-Dot anymore. He's no longer K-Dot. K-Dot is dead. Just like Beyonce died, right? So she's no longer Beyonce, she's now Sasha Fierce when she hits the stage, okay? Nicki Minaj and her crazy ass got several of them in there. Same with, what's her name? Lady Gaga got several of them. You know what I'm saying? They got several spirits possessing them. Yes, Beyonce, Sasha Fierce, Nicki Minaj got Roman and got, Roman's mother in there, and got all these other people up in her head, and Lady Gaga and Katy Perry they all always tell you, you know, that when they hit the stage or when they're in front of the camera, when they feel like they get taken over, and it's because they do. That spirit takes over, and that's what happens in these rituals. Yes, Rihanna got Bad Girl Riri. You know what I'm saying? And we have to recognize that all these women get passed around. all these women get passed around because as they are programmed as sex kittens now. They are no longer where the men get blackmailed, right? They get blackmailed, and that's all they get. The women are the one that get passed around. That's why you always hear things about, Jay-Z and Rihanna, Beyonce and Obama, and Nicki Minaj and all these people, is because that's pretty much been their role now there. And it started with the first was Marilyn Monroe. She was the one being passed around, and that's where they get the sex kitten code name, and the first dissociative identity. Marilyn had this dissociative. She didn't have a name for it, but she'll tell you, if you listen to some of her older interviews and stuff like that, she'll tell you, and that's the reason why they killed her, because she knew all this kind of insider information, especially with her. Hers was high level. Hers was politicians. Peep the gem. Blackmail. Yes. Blackmail. Is that just talking about MALE? Blackmail? Is that what you're talking about, Barrett? Damn, Olivia and 50 Cent, I thought the girl was cute. But again, like I said, with all these women in the industry, once you hit a certain threshold, it's like, all right, now how far are you trying to go? How far are you trying to go? If you're trying to reach to the next level, you got to give us a little bit more. That's why you see throughout these women's careers that they change. They change from, look at Rihanna, Pond the River, right? Look at her, Pond the River. She was innocent. She was sweet. She was having fun. And now if you look at Rihanna, her whole demeanor has changed. And I wouldn't necessarily call it like an evil demeanor or anything like that, but I would say soulless. Now her soul is gone. Like, if you get in, it's like with the slave. If you beat a slave enough, if you mistreat a slave enough, if you torture a slave enough, their will is going to be gone. Their will is going to be broken. And that's what happens to these people. And that's what we gotta realize, that we can't shun them, and we can't dissociate from them, because at the end of the day, they are also our brothers and sisters. They are all still a part of our divinity. The divine spirit is still trying to manifest through them, but they have been invoking these other entities and these other spirits to come. What about the parties where they eat feces and drink urine in Hollywood? They talked about this with the whole Pizzagate thing, and blood too. Don't forget about the blood, the period blood. I wouldn't touch Rihanna with a I wouldn't touch Rihanna with a borrowed ding ding. Hannibal's so stupid. Hannibal's a fool. It's a lot of them, though. It's a lot of them. So, and if you pay attention to Cardi B, right, you see her battling with the industry that she's chosen to be in. You see her battling and talking about it, right? Where others don't talk about it, and or they stopped talking about it because they now know, like, yo, you can't cross this line. You cross this line, it's over for you. You lose all the riches, and at the end of the day, you may even lose your life. But Cardi B has been putting out, and especially the blood and poop is a satanic ritual. Yes. She, especially because her claim to fame has been social media. You see what Cardi B said about her being owned. Yes, slowly they're trying to break her down. Absolutely. Because, again, when you have people feeding bugs in your ear, when you have the choice of living through ego or living through higher self, and especially in that industry, and especially with everything that she's been showered with, right? With her fame and with her fortune, it becomes harder and harder to kind of see that line between ego and higher self, and she battles constantly. I remember a the live stream, and it's always live streamed, and it always gets deleted afterwards because they know that she, again, like I said, her claim to fame was social media. So, and she's one of those artists who are continuously on social media like she never left, because that was her claim to fame. So she'll go and do live streams where she'll, like, how on her set of Bodak Yellow, and she was talking about how, you know, people in the industry are phony, and how she doesn't want to get like that, how it's stressing her out, how she was happier when she wasn't famous, how you know, she said, if anything ever happened to me, know that the government did it. How things in America are fake. So she goes throughout the whole spiel, and then it goes back to the nigga shit, right? Because again, when they're doing these things, they gotta be breaking you down. They gotta be breaking you down, and I'm not sure if they are breaking her down sexually to that point. Yeah, she did one where she was talking about Nicki Minaj, and that one disappeared. Yeah. Yes, because you cannot take shots at the top dog in the industry. Look at anybody who's ever taken shots at Beyonce. Where's the career now? What's her face? Carrie Hilson. Where's her career now? It's gone. They should take the money and run. It's not worth it. But they won't let you do that. They won't let you do that. And it's sad because she said, I want to take my parents and make them move to the Dominican Republic. I want to take my parents to the Dominican Republic. Cardi B a cutie, but let's be real. Thing Cherub did suck a lot of ding dings. Stripper do anything for money. But the thing is, Hannibal, is she already admitted that. And the reason why I can respect her is because she has never hidden the fact that, you know, she showed her poom poom, or that she danced on a pole, or that she sucked the ding dings. You know what I'm saying? Whereas you'll have a whole bunch of other people fronting that, you know, they didn't do any of that. They're classy. They're up on the up and up and stuff like that. But like I said, with her, is you can see the attack on her, how they want to, and I'm not saying anything of her music, right? Because again, like I said, once you're into this music business, you got to do what they're telling you to do. You can't put out your own and be in the mainstream. Yeah, she was always upfront with it. Absolutely. Because that was her claim to fame. That was her claim to fame. That's how she rose through social media. Was being real. Was saying how much ding ding she sucked. Was saying how much money she made swinging on a pole. Was admitting that she was a hoe, right? A hoe never gets cold. That was what blew her up. That is what blew her up. But again, and that's what I'm saying, you can see how she's changing now, how she's battling with herself, and I'm curious to see if she's gonna make it or not. Because like I said, you're always gonna get at the top level. You're always gonna get capped at a level, and once you hit that cap, you're either gonna disappear because you're not gonna follow through what they got planned for you, or you're gonna be initiated. And to be initiated, and that's a whole nother level of everything else we've been talking about. But again, you have to remember she also has gang affiliations, right? She has blood gang affiliations. So that also puts me in question as to how she's been able to rise. I feel they want to buy her voice to keep her mouth shut. Exactly. However, being real can also be a trick. They show you in transparency to suck people in. Look at how many people like her for her realness and support her music. Yes. So now she is beholden to hidden powers to be. She is part of the negative agenda to influence our little girls to be strippers and not respectable. Yes. And to speak on that, Hannibal, so a lot of the things before she really got famous with Bodak Yellow, she was always talking about how the little girl should stay in school and should not follow her to be a stripper because, she had to do what she had to do. But now you hear that less and less. It was some weird thing she did on the red carpet, and people were saying they cloned her. This clone thing be getting out of hand. They be saying they clone everybody now. Shoot, I got a joke for that. I'm gonna leave that one for later. I'm gonna leave that one for later. You have to see the video. Well, now she yeah. So I think it was more comedy that Gucci made her. I think what more comedy was saying. She about the blue had a malfunction. You mean had a malfunction? It started with Eve here in Philly. Shit. I'm trying to think of Eve now, and you know how she crossed over into movies, so that's a whole nother level, right? That's a whole nother level that you gotta take, and that's funny that you said that because now that brings me back to that movie Barbershop where Common was in the movie, and then I think later on that week I was listening to Common, back in the day, Common when he used to be a rapper, and again I forgot to mention this in the music live that I did was how I said in the 2000s, the early 2000s, music was still kind of, wasn't as detrimental, but I forgot to mention how much conscious rap happened. She went from Rough Rider to that song Satisfaction being more sex kitten. Yes, exactly. Because you have to. You can never hold your own as being a woman, right? A strong woman. You always have to appeal to that sex kitten type of thing. You know what I'm saying? But how there was a surge of conscious rappers in the early 2000s, and I'm pretty sure it was because of Eve was a stripper. Me and my cousin that just passed ran into her before Rap Deal back in '97. Animal got the behind the scenes stories. um, but how the conscious rap kind of surged in the early 2000s, and I believe it was because of all the work that was being done in the 90s by people like Hannibal. Didn't Eve marry a millionaire or something? Yeah, she married a European millionaire, and now they calling her bougie. Eve was, and she had that sex tape with Stevie J. Exactly. And no, it's all of them. All of them always have to have a sex tape. Kim Kardashian, Paris Hilton, all these women always got sex tapes, and it just goes to show you. And Kim Kardashian is a very good example of being passed around in the industry to make your name. And Paris Hilton, we always forget how many peepees Paris Hilton went through, and especially with Kim Kardashian, everybody's like, oh, how is Kim Kardashian a hoe? She was married, she was in relationships with all people. The point of the matter is, once you continue to be passed around, that's what you are. You're the sex kitten. Just like all these women. You guys seen that? Who taught you about emojis, Hannibal? We need to find them. We need to find them. So yeah, we kind of went deep today. We went all over the place. So I'm gonna leave the floor open now. My baby daughter. Oh yeah, taught you about the emojis. I'm gonna leave the floor open now to Hong Kong Fooey. I gotta start wrapping this up. Like I said, I gotta make 10, 11, 12. Yeah, I gotta make this little man lunch and get ready for this parent teacher conference at 1:25. Thankfully the school is like right behind my house, but I gotta I gotta get back. When am I coming back on? What's today? Today's Friday. That only with 5 of us in here. Can you imagine when you get YouTube famous? I know, right? It's gonna be crazy. But like I said, I remember dog check me. Dog check me if I ever try to get big headed or something. Y'all got to dog check me. Let's see. February, I can do this weekend. Yeah, I could do this weekend. In the future. Right. Man, I could just imagine if I stayed on this YouTube thing, from way back when I started the youth. Great session, gave me laughs, educated me on some things. Give thanks, Hannibal. I'm always appreciative to see you. And it's still Thursday. It's Friday for me. I'll put on notifications. I've been told you to put on the notifications. The Faithful 5, yes, the Faithful. Well, we got a few more. Please read full comments in the future. Have I not been reading full comments? Have I been reading only half? Or is that a little shade? So, yeah, I think we got more than the Faithful 5 now, Sahar. So we got you, we got Barrett, we got more comedy, we got Martinez, Hannibal always be in here. Am I missing somebody? And now Raya in here. I don't know what happened to King. King disappeared. I will check you. I be like, remember when Little Hulk used to be lit in the back? For facts. Yeah. Y'all got the Nugget is watching you. The Nugget is watching you. But yeah, yeah, I don't know what happened to King. He disappeared. But yeah, so I guess you're right with the Faithful 5 there, Sahar. But now we got 6 with Raya. I feel like she's gonna be in here. She's gonna be in here faithfully. But yeah, so that's it for me. I'm gonna go make this little boy lunch, these little boys lunch, and try to dress up in some more motherly attire. Not go in there in the t-shirt. Man, it's cold here on the East Coast. I'm gonna get me a girlfriend to keep me warm when we watch Kitsune. What? It was just constructive criticism. Y'all a mess with your little subs and shade. Yeah, it's gonna be lit in here now. Almost that. Well, shoot, it was always lit in here. You just getting hip, Raya. You just getting hip. Like more comedy said. It be lit as hell with just 5 of us in here. Chop it up. Sometimes I got 10 in here, and I be like, yo, where these other 5 people come from? I don't know if Barrett shared today. Barrett usually be sharing to pages. I know. I thought I was the only one for a while. Nah, me, you, and Raya be on the same frequency vibe. Yes, all the time be lit in here, Raya, all the time, and the conversation be going everywhere, and I don't be stopping nobody from saying nothing every day. So yeah, I'll try and kick another live for y'all this weekend. I'm gonna try again for Sunday morning. Hopefully YouTube will let me get on Sunday morning this time. Like I said, I don't know if Barrett did his little share that he be doing. Be sharing out my videos. I think he's slacking on it now. But yeah, so it's been real dope with y'all. I had some laughs. Go back and watch the beginning half of this more comedy Martinez to get that little fire. I'm just kidding, Barrett. If more people come in, I got to wait for my comment to be read like the DMV. No. Know this for facts. I always stay loyal to people. So the people that be loyal to me, I miss the first 5 minutes every time. I always stay loyal to people, and the people that be loyal to me. So y'all will always get first. Y'all get the VIP access, backstage access type thing. All right. So yeah, you gotta read ours first. I most definitely will. So yeah, like I was saying, I gotta go now. It's been real. I appreciate y'all always staying, chopping it up with me and all that. So, peace.